holding like an anchor, guarding from the danger. I do it 'cause you're mine. All we've got is flavor. Show you something greater. Give you better life. Tell me how to be your aid. I just wanna be your shelter.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Q's Lounge.
Out in the water,
I'm back.
Like a haven in the night.
We got a late night edition.
Space, I'll feel as your partner. With the moon.
If this is your first time, this is Q's Lounge. I'm Brother Q. And this is a safe space.
I do it 'cause you're mine. All we've got is flavor.
I appreciate everybody who's checking in. If you're watching this live, leave us a note. Leave an emoji. Let us know that you're in. Tap in.
It's for you to know that I love you. For holding like an anchor.
Yeah.
Guarding from the danger. I do it 'cause you're mine.
This won't be a long podcast. I'm just really glad to be back. And I'm grateful for all those who are checking in, watching tonight. Shout out to everybody that's on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. I appreciate you. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. All right, let's see here. So first of all, for those of you, if this is your first time, Q's Lounge is a safe space. You know, Q's Lounge is a safe space. It was basically created for us to be able to connect, to be able to vibe, talk about things that all matters of the heart. One of the things that I wanted to do, because it's been a while since I've been on this platform. The last time that we got together, I think it was February 13th. And it was When a Man Loves a Woman. So if you haven't watched that, go back and watch that. Gave a lot of, information to try to help, those people who are struggling to see, the love that's right in front of them. Sometimes I think men have a hard time communicating their feelings. I know one of the things I'm going to try to talk about today, even myself, as vulnerable as I, claim to be, I do oftentimes struggle with everything that I even say here in my podcast because I'm human. But on, with the last podcast, When a Man Loves a Woman, one of the key things that, I thought about afterwards for us to be able to, kind of reflect on is, give the man room. Ladies, please give him room, to grow and to evolve, there's some things sometimes that you can do better, than he can do. And vice versa. And communication is something that a lot of men struggle with, because true, genuine, authentic communication requires a level of vulnerability that not everyone has. And, and sometimes, we're judging people by, our own sense, our own comfort, our own, security with certain things. And I think a lot of men aren't as bad as, some may paint men out to be. And I just think we just need to try to create and cultivate spaces that we can all talk and, love one another and to be able to share. And then also too, for any men who are watching this, I just want to reiterate what I shared on that show too, is to, if you have a woman that's in your life that you are married to, that you claim to love, and hopefully you have plans to, to marry as well, that you pray for her, that you cover her in prayer. You don't need to let her know that you're praying for, but do pray for her and for your family. When a man loves his woman, he will lay down his life. He will pray for you. He will do all that is needed to make sure that you're covered in ways that you can't imagine. And so just wanted to reiterate those things. It's been a while since I've been able to come on the podcast. I've had a lot of, things that have happened, some life events that have happened recently, where I haven't been able to do everything that I'm accustomed to doing. And so I'm really thankful, to be back in the space. I really appreciate the support as well during the times that just these last couple of months, I'll tell you, all those people who are, today kind of marks the today will be the 103rd day by the time you watch this of the year. It's been 103 days of the year. And, we did our New Year's podcast called Take Flight. And I just wanted to encourage everyone who is fighting a battle. You're 100 days in and you might be struggling. You might have had some life events yourself, and I wanted to just get on and just, encourage you to just continue fighting, continue believing. I think sometimes we can get lost in the busyness, the difficultness of life. And I just want to encourage everyone, especially those who are struggling, with consistency, is to just keep going and believing. One thing about, prayer that, we probably need to be reminded of is that, it only works if you believe and you hope, in your prayers. I think oftentimes, we can struggle and get lax because we have this voice in our head, that's telling us about ourselves. And the voice in our head generally is a negative voice. Plus, we got a lot of times that we're going through circumstances that are tough. So just kind of a check-in with you. I don't know how much I should talk about this, but I, recently, had like I said, it was a life event, pretty scary life event that has, changed, my life. And I think eventually I may do more, to go in deep about it. But one of the things about life, there are some people, and I believe there's a lot of people on earth who are walking around with, with near-death experiences. There are people fighting, cancer, COVID, all sorts of different, diseases, in different situations. And those people, they walk the earth a lot differently than those of us who are not, who haven't, who've been fortunate, right? Who haven't gone through these, trials and tribulations, and near-death experiences. And so I just wanted to, to say that, what I feel, even today, I was talking to a friend, I feel like there's an opportunity, for myself, even, after, some of the recent events that have happened, is to practice gratitude, and I have a friend of mine that I saw today on social media. I mean, he's going through so many things, so many, surgeries and, so many, illnesses that he's going through, and to hear his spirit, to be so uplifted and encouraged to continue the fight. And, and although I myself have gone through some things recently, I was just encouraged by that. But I also just want to encourage those who just might be in your head. You know what I mean? Like, things may be tough. Everything is relative. You don't need to, to go to the hospital. You don't need to have a near-death experience, to feel, just to feel burdened, And so I wanted just to encourage us all, to practice gratitude, being thankful for the little things. This social media, platform that we have to connect, in a lot of ways, it's not good for us. I mean, because a lot of times we're just hearing the same thing over and over again. We're not being enlightened. We're not really, challenging ourselves, our imagination. And so I just, want to encourage us to kind of get outside of this social media bubble, whatever bubble you're in, if you're watching the news, whatever that you do, and get outside of that space and find ways to be grateful and to share that gratitude, especially with your family. One encouragement I have too, I want to share this with the men. A lot of times, ladies, I speak to the men only because there's nobody speaking to the men. And, not that the things that I have to say, wouldn't go for both men and women, but I speak to the men. I want to challenge men, to consider taking time out of your day. Don't care how busy you are, sometime during the week, to go for a walk with your kids. If you have one kid, go for a walk with your kid, at least, I don't know, half hour, just go for a walk, no cell phones, like make a rule, no cell phone, and just go for a walk and talk. I recently have done that with my son, and, and something that I got to feel was like, just to feel his energy, feel his enthusiasm, and kind of hear him speak and hear how he describes how he feels about, his school, emotions and friendships and drama and different things, and I just think with the busyness of life, and we have kids, sometimes we think we have our kids figured out and we don't, and so take that time out, with your kids to just talk and listen and engage, and try to be present. You know what I mean? I know it's hard because some of us have little kids, so it's really hard to, to really get like centered in it all. But I really want to, to encourage the men. One thing too that I'm hearing right now that I wanted to speak on, on Q's Lounge, we talk a lot about love and we talk about relationships a lot. And one of the things that I wanted to speak to is that there is there feels like there's a war that's going on between men and women, and I hope and pray that it would cease. There's a lot of back and forth that's going on, on social media. I mean, like everything you turn to is about, at least for me, it seems like it's just dating and relationships, and it's all this, all this stuff that, we're at odds, and one of the things I wanted to talk about briefly was about accountability. And I really want us to, consider if you're in a love relationship, if you're married in a love relationship, that you take some time to look inward, especially if you're having challenges, is to look inside. I think a lot of the conversation is about, when men are like this and women are like this, and for so long, men have done this. And to be honest, I truly believe we need each other, and so many people think that, we don't need each other and they want to fight, so many traditions. But I'm just asking that we would take some time out to look inward at ourselves, and ask yourself, are you giving this person that you love enough room to grow, enough room to make mistakes and to feel vulnerable and to feel safe? Because a lot of times, for men, they don't feel safe, in their relationships. They will try to meet the bare minimums, to communicate and to connect with you. And so I just encourage us all to kind of look inward to make sure that we're not being too hard on one another. There's definitely an opportunity if you really truly love this person, the more that you can do intentionally to create a space that is vulnerable and that is forgiving, the more you have an opportunity for connection. After saying that, I will say, to be mindful and discern your relationships too, because there are some relationships that, you might have been giving that person too much room, and too much vulnerability. Is there such a thing? Yeah. Because you have to take care of yourself. There's, a lot of times people are disgruntled about the relationships or about the opposite sex. And it's really something that, that you're responsible for your own happiness, and so you have to make sure that you're vigilant for that. And another way I think to be able to kind of address this is to, I would love to see tomorrow, in the days to come, anyone watching this is to, in your own way, but I'm going to just say, start the conversations. I think there's a lot of conversations that we're not having because no one has started the conversation. And there's the conversation that's not being, spoken of. We don't want to talk about it because it's going to cause friction. And so to the fellas, I challenge you again, text your wife, can we talk? Make her, coffee in the morning, do whatever it is that you can do to connect, and, ask her, for a quiet time that you and her can just sit down and have a real conversation. And when you do so, I also encourage you to create, basically some guidelines too, set the foundation that you want to talk so that you have a chance to, to be heard. And also you want her to be heard, and you also want her to be understood, and you would like to be understood, and one other thing too is, make sure that you are in the right mindset. So, I'm always going to encourage prayer because that's something that I truly believe in. And so if you, before you go into this conversation, having those difficult conversations, I encourage you to, to take some time out to pray and get centered. But also just making sure that you have the right temperament, to have the difficult conversations, because oftentimes the conversations that we as men get upset with is we don't like the response. We can't handle the truth, and we need to be able to handle the truth, from this, wife and woman, this person that we love and adore. And so knowing as a man, a lot of us are, guarded. I know myself, I've had my times of being, ultra sensitive, to an opposing view. And so prepare yourself, because there's only one way to get connection, to grow closer. And it's going to take, doing the tough work. And that's also going to having to hear the truth, not just your truth, but being able to hear her truth as well. And for the women, I'll say to you as well, be willing, to accept and hear the truth as well. But I just encourage us to take time and create the space. Can we talk? And make it something that's routine that you're able to do, but set that foundation. And then lastly, I just would love, for there to be an end to the blame game, because the one thing that I think about, this is, I'm doing some study on divorce, right? And it says 70% of the divorces are filed by women, and I just wonder, like, who's wrong? We're pointing the fingers at one another, and, we see the numbers are, skewed to where women are, who have gone through a lot of things. I'm not oblivious to the abuse and the trauma that women have gone through, but I don't believe, every single one of those women are, coming from some type of abuse from that man. But one of the things that, what I think about is this is a cycle, this is a cycle. Men and women, mothers and fathers, sons and daughters, aunts and uncles, like, we are all responsible, for what's happening with love. We're all responsible for what's happening for connection. There's not a lot of examples, and there's not a lot of examples for love. There's not a lot of examples, on communication. And I believe that, we need to be able to, if we're going to be in a love relationship, that we got to be open to the work. Does this person have the capacity to have, tough conversations? Does this person have the capacity, to hear honest truth and do something about it, right? Let's not just talk about these things. Let's do something about it. But again, the cycle is, we're choosing one another, you know what I mean? And so who's at fault? At the end of the day, I think blaming and pointing fingers at one another is really setting us back. So tonight, I just wanted to check in. Q's Lounge is, has kind of been on hold. I'm not sure when the next time I'll be able to go live. I hope to be able to go live soon, but definitely wanted to connect with you guys and let you guys know, that Q's Lounge is still alive, still well. I do appreciate, family and friends that, have reached out to me for support and encouragement for, all the things that have been happening or that have happened. And I just wanted to just get on and just give my love. This is just a late night edition. I will say this, it's Resurrection, Sunday for many of us who are believers and followers. And I just hope that as you go through this week and leading up to Easter and beyond, that you take advantage of this time to make any changes that you want to make, in your life. Every day is a day that we can make a change, to be honest with you. But if you are, a follower, if you've kind of been off the path, just you take this opportunity to reflect, and if wherever you're at, we should always be reflecting. And so that's just another encouragement to take time out, to reflect. There's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot that, not just, Q and what he goes through. I know everybody else is going through things as well. So, but take the time out and deal with it, process it, share it with your significant other, hear where your kids are going through as well in their worlds. They have some pretty, big things that go on in their world as well. So just be available to that. That's it. I wasn't going to stay long. I'm really glad to just be here. You guys have no idea. I'm holding back from speaking on certain things because of the emotions that I have on the inside there. I don't trust all of my emotions on the inside. And so I just wanted to be here to just to connect with you guys. It's great to be back. So those of you, this is your first time, you can find me on Instagram at Q's Lounge. You can also find me on Facebook and Twitter and also on TikTok. And if you've watched this far, follow me on TikTok and share the link, share the post. You know what I mean? Share the content. Everything that I share is all about love. It's all good. I'm leaving all the negative stuff to to the other people that are out there, the other creators. I'm never going to be posting anything or doing anything that's negative, or at least I'm going to try to. I shouldn't say never because I'm human and I might have a slip up, but I do appreciate all of those who are already following me on all the social media platforms. And I'm also available to stream, not me, but Q's Lounge. The podcast is you're able to stream it on Amazon, Spotify, Apple Podcast Music, all the different platforms. And so I appreciate everyone. If you have any feedback that you want to give me, please do. I would love to hear from you. If you have any topic that you would like to discuss or you'd like me to discuss here on the podcast, let me know as well. But that's it. I appreciate you guys. Love you, and I'll see you soon. Peace.